Welcome to the Experience Health Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Vassar, an online holistic health coach shifting the paradigm on healing chronic disease, gut issues, and fatigue to help high achievers overcome weight loss resistance and finally experience health. So whether you're looking to put chronic disease into remission, boost your energy, build muscle, or feel confident in your skin again, you're in the right place. So get ready to transform your health and your body to unlock your full potential. Let's dive in. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Experience Health Podcast. I know I say that every time, even though I have an intro now, but it is habit, and I don't know how else to start the podcast. So that's what we're doing. But today we're going to be talking about five of the most common causes of weight loss resistance. I know that is something that so many people are struggling with nowadays. So maybe you have been trying to lose weight for years. Maybe you have lost like 30 pounds, but then, once you stop whatever you were doing, whether it be the workout regime, whether it be that diet, whatever, you just gain the weight right back, maybe even more. So you're kind of just yo-yoing your weight, or maybe you try a diet, but your weight just seems to not budge whatsoever. In fact, I have seen some people start diets, start workout regimes, and somehow the body weight just goes up. Like, how does that happen? The math is not mathing. So that is why today we are going to be diving into the five most common causes of weight loss resistance so that you're able to understand your body a little bit more and understand what you may need to look into or do to help overcome weight loss resistance, which is exactly what I help people with. So let's dive right into the podcast. So the first most common cause of, and these aren't ranked in order, by the way, okay, just so you know. But the first most common cause of weight loss resistance is hormonal imbalances. So one of the most common ones that I see for people who have weight loss resistance is cortisol. So this could be high cortisol or low cortisol or a dysregulated cortisol pattern. So for people who are living in super high stress situations or lifestyles, you'll typically see high cortisol pattern for these individuals. Typically, again, everyone is different, so you don't make exceptions, but this is what I typically see. And so when you have a high cortisol, what this can do is it can increase inflammation, it can decrease your metabolism because this puts your body in a state of fight or flight. And when your body is in a state of fight or flight, the last thing that it thinks it needs is weight loss. Okay, so what it's going to do is try to hold on to weight for literally dear life. Okay, so it's going to do so by decreasing your metabolism, and if it thinks that it doesn't have enough food for whatever it's doing, it will actually, your body is in a catabolic state because it's in fight or flight, so it can actually take nutrients from protein, from your bones, from your hair, from your skin, from your nails, all the things that, you'll notice, like hair loss. You'll notice maybe people developing osteoporosis, especially in older age, and you'll also notice less muscle mass. So that's a very typical thing that I see with people who have high cortisol, especially if they're a little bit older. But not all the time can your body be living in this high cortisol output for a very long time. I know that was me for, I think it lasted like 2 years probably, living in a very high cortisol state. And then my body pretty much completely tanked. So this is the second part that I will typically see with people. I usually see it after a high stress, situation that I just described. But what happens is your body can't just keep pumping out that much cortisol for so long without just eating up all your bones and all your muscles, and it's got to survive somehow. So what it actually does is it actually completely depletes cortisol production. It doesn't just even itself out because you're still stressed, you're still not giving it the nutrients that it needs, your lifestyle is still super dysregulated. So what happens is cortisol output completely depletes, and that's where chronic fatigue will actually come in, which is another really common thing that people notice with weight loss resistance. But in this chronic fatigue state, obviously you have less energy to do things, your metabolism is still completely tanked. Your energy expenditure, of course, is going to go down. This is typically when I will see appetites increasing as well, but I have also noticed people have lower appetites, which does not help this situation in particular, because if you're not providing your body with the nutrients that it needs specifically, then it will not be able to heal, because when your body is in high stress, it uses up nutrients like no other, especially like the vitamin Bs, magnesium, zinc, and things like that. So if you're not getting enough through food and or supplementation, but I always go to food first because it's a lot more bioavailable, and you need to make sure that you're getting the proper nutrients through food because there's a much wider range of micronutrients when you get it through nutrition. So anyways, in this state, you know, you're still going to be seeing this weight loss resistance, and it's probably, this is kind of like when people really start noticing it and being like, oh my gosh, wait, like I literally can't lose weight. Like I don't feel good. I am tired all the time. I can't lose weight. You know, maybe they have dysregulated appetite. Maybe some days they literally just can't eat. Other days they can't stop eating. They'll notice like brain fog. This is probably when like pain will come in as well, because this increased inflammation after this high stressed state, inflammation will be going crazy, and then you're just tired, you're inflamed, you're in pain, bloated, likely you have gut issues as well. We're not talking about that yet, but those are kind of like, that's a variety of things that many people will notice. And that's what I personally noticed when I was going through this specific section of the journey that I am talking about. And so for cortisol stress specifically, this is what you will see and how it affects weight loss, because another aspect that it actually affects it is through causing insulin insensitivity as well, because again, it wants to hold on to weight literally for dear life. And so people will present with people will present with insulin sensitivity as well, which is like, in my opinion, a lot of these really go down to insulin sensitivity, but it still is multifaceted, and you can't just focus on one thing. You need to focus on the body and the influences on the body holistically to be able to actually heal. So anyways, so to know if you have high cortisol, or even if you are in that second stage, it's called second stage of HPA axis dysfunction. That's what it's technically called. I try not to get too much into scientific slogan, just to keep it as simple as I can for you guys. But when you are in that phase, you'll typically notice in the first phase, you'll typically some people may be different, but most of the time you'll have high energy, you'll feel invincible. Most of the time, this is not when you start to see weight gain, but you can 100%. I do see that a lot, but again, not everyone presents it in the same way. But the second stage of HPA axis dysfunction is where people run into a lot of the issues with weight gain on their midsection. You know, they'll notice a puffier face, they'll notice some joint issues, bloating, chronic fatigue, brain fog, and a bunch of other symptoms. So if you're having any of those symptoms, it's definitely something to pay attention to, because cortisol stress is a really big part when it comes to the development of chronic disease, difficulty in losing weight, etc. So the second hormone that is really important in this little talk, this subject, is thyroid function. So thyroid plays a really huge role in managing your metabolism. So if you have low thyroid levels, this can decrease your metabolism. If you have high thyroid levels, this can increase your metabolism. And your thyroid can also actually be very significantly affected when you go through these stages of HPA axis dysfunction, or high cortisol, low cortisol phases that I talked about before, that can really significantly influence thyroid. There are a lot of other things that can influence thyroid as well. But if you are noticing that you have weight loss resistance, this is definitely something that you'll want to take a look into. Especially symptoms that I want you to take a look at, especially are if your hair is falling out, if you have skin issues, and if you're cold all the time. Those are like really common things that I see for hypothyroidism or thyroid issues specifically. So I would definitely take a look at and get a comprehensive thyroid panel to help you see if that is an issue for you. Do not self-diagnose if you have any of these symptoms. Please, you need to get labs to get an official diagnosis. You have to go to the doctor. So just keep that in mind. No self-diagnosing here. The other hormone that is really influential in weight loss resistance is estrogen, high estrogen to be specific. This can be an issue for women as well as men. You'll see this in older men especially. High cortisol will lead or can lead to low testosterone. Low testosterone can lead to high estrogen. And this can lead to increased weight on your midsection. This will lead to moobs, as you will see in men. And then in women, this is usually like symptoms of PMS, and that's like the most common symptom. There are other symptoms, increased weight on the midsection for women as well. So if you're having any of those symptoms, this is definitely something that you'll want to take a look at. Again, do not self-diagnose, get some labs done, okay? It'll be really helpful for you. And even if you aren't having any symptoms specifically tailored, like that I'm talking about, there are way more symptoms, okay? I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can for you, but I really do recommend getting some labs done because that will be really helpful in, number one, knowing what your baseline is. If you are healthy, get some labs done because then you will know what your baseline is and where you feel your best, okay? And then number two, this will also be able to see if there are any issues going on that need to be addressed before it just gets worse, okay? So that's why I always recommend getting labs done, no matter what's going on in your life, even if you're healthy, even if you're feeling good, okay? So that's all I'm going to talk about for hormones. The second most common cause of weight loss resistance is actually gut issues. The gut is responsible for absorbing nutrients and regulating your metabolism as well. But gut imbalances, such as imbalances in your microbiome, inflammation in your gut leading to intestinal permeability, can lead to inflammation. It has a synergistic relationship, okay? But it can lead to inflammation and therefore weight gain, whether it be weight gain through inflammation or weight gain because it negatively slows down your metabolism. So if you have bloating, or if you have gas, or if you have digestive discomfort, if you have acid reflux, frequent burping, or indigestion, then this is definitely something that you'll want to pay attention to because you likely have gut inflammation. And if you don't get it taken care of now, it's not just going to magically resolve. I am very sorry to say, but you'll need to take specific steps to help heal your gut. And there are general things that you can do on the internet. There's a lot of information on the internet. However, as a gut health coach, it is really important to identify and heal the root cause of your gut issues. That way, you'll be able to actually fix what is going on. And just a quick little note, if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, if people keep telling you to cut out this food, cut out that food, try the AIP diet, try the low FODMAP diet, be careful of this because food is not the problem unless you're eating trash, okay? Whole foods, to be more specifically. I'm not a fan of highly processed foods, but whole foods, to be more specifically, are not the problem, even though they can, exacerbate the issues if you do have gut inflammation, but just cutting them out is not fixing the issue. I've said it a million times before. I will say it literally a million times because people are not getting this into their brain very quickly. They just keep going to these diets, okay? So stop going to these diets and identify and heal the root cause of your gut issues because only then will you be able to find lasting improvement and relief from your symptoms and be able to eat food. All right, the third most common cause of weight loss resistance is blood sugar dysregulation / insulin insensitivity. Okay, so I am not talking just about like diabetes here. Not the same thing, even though it's technically in the same group of blood sugar, but it's not the same thing, okay? Diabetes is definitely a little bit different than just insulin sensitivity, and there are actually a very large amount of people who have insulin sensitivity and they do not know it. Their doctors don't know it. Their doctors don't help them know it. And the bigger issue is, even if people do know that they have insulin insensitivity, their doctors are not teaching them how to actually regulate their blood sugar, which is super frustrating. And I'm not sure if it's because the doctors just don't want to or because the doctors don't know how, because it is pretty simple and it's something that I teach every single one of my clients because it is so important. But when your blood sugar is constantly spiking and crashing, it pretty much just makes it harder to burn fat, and it also makes it way easier to store it. Another negative influence that it can have is on your appetite. So when you're constantly spiking and crashing your blood sugar, those blood sugar crashes make you feel real hungry, okay? And that is when you'll typically notice you're snacking on the candies in the jar or in like the, whatever, the bowl at work. I know that's that's an issue that a lot of my clients have when they first come to me. They're like, there's candy in a bowl at my work. And they just like don't know how to control themselves until I teach them my methods, and then they never talk about it again because it's not an issue. But anyways, this also leads to dysregulated appetite. People will also notice if they don't regulate their blood sugar throughout the day and they're trying to obviously lose weight, so they're not eating a ton of food in the evening. What I see happen so many times is they will end up binging in the evening, and obviously that is not going to help in weight loss in and of itself. And that just completely further exacerbates the blood sugar dysregulation issue. It also makes sleep difficult, and it's just not a good time, okay? It's never fun for anyone going through that. So if you have blood sugar dysregulation, you'll typically notice energy crashes, sugar cravings, and you'll also notice, stubborn belly fat. This is kind of tied to cortisol. Actually, blood sugar dysregulation, I think I said this, but I'm saying it again. Blood sugar dysregulation is really closely related to cortisol as well. They affect each other synergistically, because usually when you have a spike in your blood sugar, that spikes your cortisol as well. And then when you have a drop, it can drop your cortisol as well. And then that can lead to a very just dysregulated cortisol pattern too. And that is when people will run into issues both with their cortisol, their ability to manage their stress, their insulin sensitivity, and therefore weight loss resistance. So if you want to stabilize your blood sugar, this is the whole thing, okay? But to put it super simply, eat every 3 to 4 hours, eat balanced meals, do not eat empty carbohydrates. Make sure that you have at least a protein and a fat, if anything, protein or fat, but I recommend protein and a fat. And fiber, that's kind of like an added bonus that helps even more with every meal, eating it in the order of fiber, protein, fat, and then carbohydrates for the best blood sugar regulation. All right, the fourth thing that can significantly influence weight loss resistance is terrible sleep, okay? I don't think I have ever had a client come to me be like, my sleep is literally perfect. I get 8 to 9 hours every single night. I go to sleep within 5 minutes, sleep the whole night soundly, and wake up feeling refreshed. I have never heard of that with a client first coming to me. I do hear of that literally all the time with my current clients and clients who have worked with me, because I'm able to help them, teach them how to sleep properly. I mean, who knew? Who knew? But lack of sleep can significantly increase your inflammation. It can influence blood sugar dysregulation. So this is pretty much going to be the things that we talked about, okay? I want to talk about this study. Actually, I think I've talked about this a few times on my social media, but I bring it up every time because it's super interesting. So there was these individuals who were not diabetic, okay? Not pre-diabetic, they were in the normal range. They had, I believe, 2 weeks of sleep deprivation. I think it was pretty significant. I know it was less than 6 hours. I cannot remember the specific numbers, but I know it was less than 6 hours. And after 2 weeks, these people were into a pre-diabetic state just from 2 weeks of sleep deprivation, which is insane. And it's something that is really important to pay attention to, because something as simple as sleeping can literally completely transform your health and your life. And it's something that so many people try to improve, but not actually, they look up all these, here's some like habits to improve your sleep. And they're like, I've tried everything, except they have not implemented a single habit consistently, which is why their sleep is so terrible. And I'm going to talk about this forever, because I know I've been there and done that. I've been like, I've tried everything to fix this. And I'm like, wait a second. I have not actually implemented anything. All I have done is researched and learned a bunch of different things that I could do, but I didn't actually implement anything consistently. So what is necessary is to make sure that you're implementing habits consistently for at least 30 days to help improve your sleep. And I give my clients a very long list of habits to implement. They pick 7 to 10 habits to implement to help them improve their sleep, depending on what will work best for them and their lifestyle. They implement consistently for 30 days, and I have never had a client tell me that their sleep was worse or even the same. Most of the time, my clients have complete transformations in their sleep. Absolutely insane. So anyway, just a little side note on sleep, but that is why sleep is so important. It also helps you in regulating your appetite as well. It helps you in hormonal regulation. Oh my gosh, hormonal regulation. It helps you with your cortisol. A very big influence in your cortisol, very big influence in your thyroid hormone, very big influence in lowering inflammation. What else? Oh yeah, it also helps you improve your gut. Helps you regulate your nervous system, which also helps you improve your gut, lower inflammation, regulate your blood sugar. It is an amazing thing for helping you overcome weight loss resistance, and it's literally so easy. All you have to do is implement the proper habits, lay down, and go to sleep. It's so easy. Well, sometimes it does take a little bit of experimentation with your habits, but as for the actual sleeping part, that's pretty chill. So anyway, that is the fourth biggest cause of weight loss resistance, and something that you should definitely, if you are having sleep issues and maybe you're overwhelmed with everything that you need to do to heal your body, right? I would recommend starting here, fixing your sleep first, and then that will also help you give you the energy to be able to work on these other things. Like maybe you start with sleep, and then you can move to movement, and then nutrition, and then go from there. Just optimizing your lifestyle. Now, the fifth most common cause of weight loss resistance is something that I have talked about a lot because it significantly influences all of these other 4 that I have talked about, okay? Everything is literally so connected. It makes it hard to talk about different topics, but we're here. So the fifth one is chronic stress. Chronic stress is a very, very, very significant contributor to weight loss resistance because of what I have talked about before. It dysregulates your cortisol pattern. It can lead to blood sugar dysregulation / insulin resistance. It can worsen your sleep. A lot of people who have chronic stress will be diagnosed with insomnia, and then obviously they have bad sleep, so that makes it harder for them to manage stress, and then this cycle just keeps perpetuating. A lot of times people have very dysregulated cortisol patterns because of their lifestyle. They're getting way too much blue light during the day, they're not getting outside, they're not getting proper movement, they're not feeling your body properly, they're not getting good sleep. There's a lot of different areas here that can influence here. Please don't get overwhelmed, but I'm trying to just help you understand how everything is so connected. And it's really important to take a holistic view, because if you have weight loss resistance, sure, you could take a drug, sure, you could take Ozempic, sure, you could take a supplement that could, fix all your issues supposedly. But if you do not feel your body properly, if you don't manage your stress effectively, if you aren't sleeping good, if you are not feeling your body properly, those are short-term fixes that will not lead to long-term results, and it will not make you feel great, because sadly, we do not have a drug yet that will help you feel amazing, be perfectly healthy, be able to overcome weight loss resistance in a healthful way and feel amazing while you're doing it. Sadly, we do not have a drug that will do that without changing your lifestyle, changing your nutrition. So it's still important this year to change your nutrition and your lifestyle. If you are wanting to overcome weight loss resistance, it is absolutely essential. If you are not able to change your nutrition, if you're not able to improve your sleep, manage your stress effectively / regulate your nervous system, then you can pretty much just say goodbye to the thought of overcoming weight loss resistance, because it is simple. Okay, I know the internet can make it seem super complicated. I know it can make it seem that there are so many different things that you need to work on. But when it comes down to it, it is really simple, but it's stuff that people just don't prioritize. And that is why so many people are struggling with weight loss resistance nowadays. There are so many things that are holding people back from prioritizing this, and I completely understand the difficulties in it. But I have talked to so many individuals who have been able to overcome weight loss resistance and make a incredible transformation in their lives, both my clients and people on social media and people I've met. And it all comes down to self-prioritization to be able to make these intentional changes. So if you want to uncover the root cause of your weight loss resistance through functional labs and comprehensive assessments, then you can DM me on my Instagram at Rachel's Fitness LLC. I would love to chat, see if we're the right fit to work together, and help you uncover the root cause of your weight loss resistance to see what you need to heal your body, and finally feel confident. And if you have any questions for me, definitely let me know. I will see you next week. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Experience Health Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe for more. If you have any questions or if you are interested in online holistic health coaching, DM me on my Instagram at Rachel's Fitness LLC with 2 A's. Until next time.